Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. My name is Kai the Carbuncle and this is my review on Tarisland, the new MMO coming out for mobile and PC. We are just about to finish the closed beta test, which ends tomorrow, and I thought this would be a good time to give you my opinion on the game. So to start off with, gameplay is extremely good. It's fleshed out. They know exactly what style of MMO they're going for. It's basically a WoW clone. All of the classes seem to work well together. Their healers seem to heal. Tanks are really easy to play, really fun. So is the DPS. The fact that you can easily switch between one and the other by just clicking a button is extremely helpful. Now onto actual gameplay features. So we're going to start off in the gameplay tab and we're going to start with dungeons. So dungeons, you have the arcane. Let's start with the first thing. You have your normal dungeons. At the moment in this game we have, I think it's 5 dungeons we're able to play. Yep, we have Library of Chaos, Camp Carlion, Merfolk Swamp, the Forest Altar and Botanical Garden. Now, I do have to say I have a big problem with the dungeons in this game. I feel they put all of their interest into the first dungeon and it sort of dissipated over time. I mean, I enjoyed the first dungeon extremely well. There was a good amount of mechanics in there, interesting mechanics, like the first boss fight where they turn you into sheep and you've been chased by wolves. The second boss with the elemental orbs and having to collect the right ones. And the third boss is just fun with that nature buff you get at the end to increase all of your DPS and reduce all your cooldowns. Just makes the final boss fight extremely fun. From there on, all of the boss fights in my opinion just seemed to get worse. The mechanics didn't seem to be as interesting or engaging. I mean, right now off the top of my head I can't actually think of a single boss in any of the final 4 dungeons that really stood out to me as special. I mean, maybe Botanical Garden, the second boss, where you don't actually fight the boss, you fight his experiments. That was quite interesting. But other than that, it's just dungeons in an MMO. You just pull wall-to-wall pull, kill everything, kill the boss, get through it. Not really that hard. Then you have your Arcane Realm, which is your Mythic Plus version of dungeons. Every week you get, every different 3 days you get different affix. And then every day you get a different daily affix depending on which one you get. I will say I thoroughly enjoy pretty much all of them except for this one, Gale. Gale can go and get removed from the game. I absolutely hate it. It makes all dungeons unplayably fun. Well, unfun. You basically are walking into wind when not even doing adding count when in fights, and it just makes the dungeon so much slower and more a pain in the ass. The others, however, the closed loop, the gemstones, twist, entangle, and annihilation, they are all extremely good affixes. I loved playing dungeons with them. That's pretty much it. I think the gearing from dungeons could be improved. The fact that you get like ancient medals and you need 30 of them to buy a piece of gear, and you have a chance at purple gear, and even then it can be complete garbage. Maybe if you got a choice of gear out the chest, which you could pick what you want. But other than that, yeah, the loot from heroics is not that great. So now, let's move on to the next part, which is probably what most people want to know about, is the raids. Right, the first raid, the Ancash Defense Battle, is not really a raid, it's just a tank and spank fuck the boss up. It's, it's your first introduction to raiding in this game. There's no real mechanics, it's just blast everything and avoid ground AoEs. I mean, the tanks do have to do a tank swap at one point, but that's about it. Then on to Roots of Corruption. This by far is extremely fun. I think the first boss, the Murloc King, is far undertuned, far too easy. We managed to obliterate him on elite mode day 1 without issue. You then have the Ancient Tree and Synthesis Doctor, which we've got to try out. The tree is basically, can you survive the damage? And if you can, you can basically kill him. But is extremely hard hitting. I feel maybe even slightly overtuned for eye level 93. And then Synth Doctor, he has really fun mechanics, needing to use different potions to counter different abilities of his, and making sure people have the right potions when they need them. We are missing the Forest Gemini and the Arch Druid. We will not get to play them in the beta. I can just imagine how much harder they are going to get though. And then with the third one, the Blight Dragon, we're not going to get to test, but this is the one raid I actually want to try. It looks amazing. I mean, just look at that boss, he looks fucking fantastic. Gearing from raids is probably the best gear you're going to get in this game at this point. I mean, just look at this, for beating him on elite mode, you get 100 plus 13 armor, or 100 plus 10. Ancient Tree, 100 plus 10 or 100 plus 13. So basically this is your endgame gear. And you can get different affixes, different specials on there to increase your abilities. You can either have Justice or Guard, depending on what class you play for Paladin. Every job has this. You can choose depending on which role you prefer to play, which gear you want. They also lock certain gear behind certain bosses. For example, the first boss can only drop chest, leg, belt, and helmet. The second boss can drop your gauntlets, your braces, your necklace, and again your helmet. I mean, all of them can drop helmet. This one drops your accessory, your cape, your shoulder guards. The next one drops your helmet, your boots, your ring, and then the last one drops your weapon. I have no idea what that is. That's an artifact, I think. Right. And that's actually just a glam, so that one doesn't really matter. I found the raids fairly interesting, except for the first one. Obviously, the first one was basically just nuke the boss down in 2 minutes. Now we move on to Universal Hall. I'll come back to Conquer. Universal Hall, they give you a new boss out of one of the dungeons every couple of days, and you have to go in and beat him in a one-on-one fight. You have a time limit, and you also have modifiers you can add to make it more difficult and get you more points. The more points you get, the higher floor you get to. The higher floor you get to, the more rewards you get. Pretty simple. This is basically used at the moment to get inscription powder, which is used to increase your inscription stone, to give you more stats, as you can see here. Basically a talent tree, you can go whichever way you want, all the way up to the top here to get you more powerful effects. That's that. This is basically this will just come down to one day someone coming up with the best build for each class and people just copying it off of the internet. Yay! But what MMO doesn't have that? That also goes along with your talents, which if I can find them. Skills, there they are. I do love the fact that they give you have your 2 skill sets. Then in talents, you have multiple talents you can take for each build. Ultimates, these are basically your 6 adjustable skills. You got your cooldown, your taunts, your interrupts, your movement speed, your damage reflect. You got all that stuff for tanks. But the one thing I do love about this game, if you have no idea what you are doing with this stuff, they have a recommended tab. Click a button and it will automatically set you up with a fully spec'd class. They give you multiple options depending on your job, like this one can have Holy Shield, Bash or Holy Sword. Justice can either go for Judgment Strike or Judgment Sword, depending on which playstyle you want. You can read what they do at the top. I mean, to be honest, at the moment, this is a really fun game. I really do enjoy it. I am sad to see the closed beta end. I would love it to carry on. I think gearing could be made a little bit easier. I've seen some people out there who are already pretty much maxed. They've beaten all of the raids on the highest difficulty in the beta. I'm struggling just because I can't seem to get a higher level weapon. Without a weapon I can't do damage, and without damage I can't get into raids. That's the one thing holding me back. I wish there was a way of getting more gear towards what you want. Like I said, you do get the currency which you can use to buy gear. But if we go into here, for example, you're looking at 30 pieces for a 90 eye level. That's the worst ones. The better ones, it's 30 for eye level 100. But then if you want a weapon, it's double. I don't get why. Why does the weapon have to be twice as much as everything else? Onto the world. I believe, and I hope the world will get increased. The world size will get increased for the actual game. We only have 3, well, I would say 3 playable zones at the moment: Silverlit, Ancash, and Misty Forest. The Silverlit suburbs, there's nothing really there. You get a dark invasion there, occasionally you get a world boss, but that's basically it. There's nothing really down there. I mean, there's a few collectibles, but there's no real story down there. Nothing to really do. I do love the reputation events, especially the ones in Silverlit, where you get to do little puzzles. And they give you rewards. The world collectibles are also extremely good. You get to run around trying to find all the collectibles. Get more collectibles you get, the more rep you get, the more rep you get, the more unlocks you get. Other than that though, that is pretty much the game. It is pretty much a WoW clone for mobile. They haven't killed the boss. This is also a world boss. These randomly appear in the world every couple of days. You kill them, you get a reward. I would like it if they were more farmable. At the moment, you kill it once, you get your reward, you never have to come back here again. You're done. You can just run off and do other things. Other than that, that's my review on Tarisland. I hope to play the next beta when it comes out, if they have one. If not, I'm waiting for this game to become fully released, and I hope to see everyone there.